Good morning, Rotary Club of Centennial.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Please take a moment to silence your cell phones. Vern Hansen, thank you so much for stepping up and taking over inspiration today.
In this season of Thanksgiving and holidays and happiness and family and friends, please help us remember the hungry who need a hot meal. Please help us remember the homeless who need shelter. Please help us remember those who are lonely and without friends, to whom a hug and a friendly word will brighten their day. And please help us remember service above self. Thank you for this food, friendship, and camaraderie of Rotary. Amen.
Come on. In keeping in mind what Vern just said, everybody please go hug Phil. Angie O'Seeley, could you lead us in the pledge, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Butler, I believe you have the Rotary Minute.
In keeping with Thanksgiving, this is Thanksgiving season, and Vern's very inspirational message. Thank you. I wanted to remind everybody of the service that Rotary provides and why we really ultimately are all here. There are 1.2 million members and 35,000 clubs across the world. We do 16 million volunteer hours each year, and under the heading of "No challenge is too great," there have been 2.5 billion children immunized against polio. I think you owe yourself a round of applause. Thanks.
And that 16 million volunteer hours, that's just Mary Alice Jackson, right? I'm not quite sure what the rest of Rotary does worldwide. Ms. Henshin, I believe you have the business minute today.
Good morning, and welcome to Eagle Eye Ranch. Eagle Eye Ranch is a property over 100 years old. At one time, it was a stagecoach stop. It is located 3 miles outside of Granby, and in 1973, George and his partners bought this ranch. For the first 15 years, it had cattle and horses and cowhands and hay. And then as the price of oil went down and the price of cattle went down, they decided it was time to change gears. So they went in, remodeled, and turned it into a rental property. And that's about the time I went to work for George and Don. This ranch will sleep up to 24 people. It's equipped with everything in the ranch in the kitchen, big equipment. 4 years ago, George bought out his last partner, and now the ranch is run by his youngest daughter, who is a very smart little lady with a law degree out of Notre Dame, and several hours of petroleum engineering out of Colorado School of Mines. But she also oversees this ranch, which we run out of Fancher Oil's office in the tech center. My job is reservations, gathering up all the people that we need to go fix things or repair things or build things or fix the yard. We do have on-site property managers, a wonderful young couple, Laura and Jesse, and they have an 18-month-old little Mila and a little boy due any day, and a Labradoodle. And oh yes, you get to bring your dog to Eagle Eye. We'll allow up to 2 dogs on the property. The ranch is located within 10 to 20 minutes of 2 ski areas, sledding hills, sleigh rides, 4 good mountain golf courses. Hank and I've played all 4 of those. And just down the road from Hot Sulphur Springs Mineral Spa. There's a lot of fishing nearby, as well as hiking and ATV trails, rafting trips. We back up to the Rocky Mountain National Forest. But we found this summer a lot of the family reunions, they like to bring outdoor fun games and just relax at Eagle Eye. This summer we had 1 small wedding, 2 corporate team building groups, and a lot of reunions of families and friends. The ranch has been packed from the end of May through October. Usually when we have snow, it's packed during ski season. Our website is eagleeyeranch.com, and we're also on VRBO. And thanks.
Thank you. So, Mr. Eunice, for year to year, you may want to consider the first annual Rotary retreat. Just an idea.
How much money are you going to leave me?
Well, I didn't say you have to pay for it. Although I'm sure if Barb is your accountant, she can figure out a way to write it off. So, just for you. Yeah. I want to thank Paul Horiuchi and Phil Chapuris for setting up today. Karen Fleck has takedown. Appreciate that. Mark Paller, you did an excellent job greeting. Thank you. Vern, great inspiration in this holiday season. Thank you very much. And Angie, you did an outstanding job leading the pledge. We're going to ratchet up your level of difficulty here pretty quick, but that gets things going. Visiting Rotarians, there she is, Jessica, our visiting Rotarian. Thank you so much. Good. Do we have any other visiting Rotarians? I don't see any. So Jessica, you're handling the role admirably. We were supposed to have Student of the Month this morning, but unfortunately our Student of the Month and her parents are MIA. So figuring just coming off of break, around 3 o'clock this afternoon, the Student of the Month will go, and remember that she's supposed to be here. But we're going to leave the door open, and if they show up, we'll let them know. Carmen, her guidance counselor, is here, so please give Carmen a great welcome. Thank you so much. And so Carmen may be having breakfast with us again another day once we find our missing Student of the Month. I'd like to introduce guests. Diana. Stand up, say hi, Diana. Diana's back again. It's my understanding that Tripp, our master recruiter, she's going to be turning in her application and check very shortly. So thank you very much. Kevin Skeen is our speaker. Kevin, jump up, say hi. Everybody give Kevin a nice round of applause. And then Kennedy Dickey is our Student of the Month, and her parents, Bob and Sandy. So if they come sneaking in, give them a nice greeting. Mr. Eunice, what is today?
Tuesday.
It's the 28th, November. Whose birthday is it?
My wife's birthday. She doesn't celebrate her birthday. Yeah. She may say she doesn't want anything, but we all know the true story.
We know what that means.
All right. And then Karen Peterson's birthday is the 4th, is that right? So it's coming up. There you go. So she's coming up. And I don't show any wedding anniversaries for this week. Does anybody have a wedding anniversary coming up in the next week? No. Okay. On to club business. Well, we're not to travel gifts yet, but I'll make sure to announce them when we get there. Ms. Fleck, where are you hiding? Come on up. So part of our blue badge requirements, of course, we have people visit other clubs. So Karen, what club did you go to?
Well, Ann and I visited, can you hear me? Ann and I visited the Mountain Foothills Rotary Club, supposedly out of Evergreen, but they're really just in the foothills. And they meet at the Mount Vernon Country Club on Wednesday evenings. And they're a very friendly, nice group. They also have a cool little brochure.
And they're a drinking club, aren't they?
They are a drinking club. Because they meet at 6:30. They don't have dinner. I guess they have dinner afterwards, but they meet right above the bar at the Mount Vernon
There
Country
you
Club,
go.
And social hour starts at 5:30.
There you go.
So they're a very kind of
Happy.
friendly, less formal group.
All right, good. Well, thank you for this. And you gave them one of our banners as well?
I didn't.
You didn't?
I
Well,
didn't know-
you're
I
going to have
didn't
to
know.
go back?
Okay.
All right, thank you so much.
You want this too?
Sure. So, Mr. Peterson, I'll give this to you so you can add it to our collection. Thank you very much. Holiday party is this weekend. We've got RSVPs in. I have to give the list. If anyone has not RSVP'd and you plan on attending, you better let me know at the end of the meeting today or you're not going to be on the list. You want to come? Yeah. You? 2 people? Just you? Okay. Remind me at the end of the meeting because my memory goes away. Say what?
Tell Karen. She'll make sure you remember.
Oh, she tells me what to remember all the time. And for the party, for our newer members, these travel gifts that you see us collecting all the time, we auction those off, the proceeds of which go towards our foundation, not Rotary International Foundation, but Rotary Club of Centennial's foundation. So I'm sure there's going to be a coaster set or 2 available to bid on, so please come ready to bid. Mr. Hope. I'm losing control.
It's 6 o'clock.
Whenever you want to come. 6, no later than 6, 5:30 to 6. We're going to start setting up around 3. So 6 is fine. Karen, Barry, would you like to tell the story of the coasters rather than just telling me to tell the story? I'll let you tell the story.
I don't know if I remember it exactly, but John McCarty went to, was it Ireland that he went to? And he brought back a travel gift of coasters, but they were coasters that he used at the different bars that he went to in Ireland. So it's just kind of a inside joke that we bring coasters when we bring a travel gift. So.
We are a high dollar, high rolling club after all. All right, Mr. Hope, let's try again.
That's all right. Our big event's coming up on the 9th and 10th. I do have a sign-up sheet here that needs to be passed around. I would like to announce to the club that, John, will you stand up? John is going to be our Santa Claus for the event. So we are in search of a medium-sized Santa Claus outfit. So anybody knows one that we can rent very reasonably priced, that would be great. Yeah, got it. There is a sign-up. Well, what part do you want to be large, John? I guess. And we do have a special guest here. Jessica Seidner is here, and she is on the. She's helping us with on behalf of the library, and they are participating with us. Did you bring your show and tell? What the library is going to do?
I think we should elect her as the Rotary elf.
The elf? Oh, okay. Let me hold this for 1 second. I can't hold it. Okay.
I'll hold it.
I'm tall. Okay. So each person who participates in the event gets a little happy holidays from Arapahoe Libraries and an ornament, a snowflake, which is really kind of cute. But also, most importantly, we have a bunch of resources that could help them with kind of whatever needs that they have. It's really important. This is a very exciting way to reach out to people who may not know that we exist and what resources we have to offer. And we're all about getting out into the community to get the community to come into us. So this is a perfect way to do that. So there's a lot of great resources, whether it's programming, librarian services, business, getting a job, computer, the whole 9 yards. So we're really excited to provide the space for the sorting. The pod that has been provided that holds all the Christmas trees is in the parking lot, and it's not an eyesore at all. And we're glad to we're glad to help with it.
So we're killing two birds with one stone. We're doing service to the community, and we're doing literacy at the same time. So, and business. Hey, we're doing everything here. So anyway, the event is the 9th and 10th. The 9th, Saturday, we'll be sorting ornaments. We'll be retrieving them from the pod into the conference room at the Alapo Library District. So we have a couple people with pickups. They're going to help us do that. On the day of the event, we need some tall people who will help load the Christmas trees on top of the cars.
That leaves Peterson out.
We have 77 people who have signed up to receive our trees. We're shooting for 100. Latest count, Home Depot has donated 50 trees.
Very nice.
Mark Gale and I are going to start retrieving those trees this week, so we will be ready to go on the 9th and 10th. So that sign-up sheet, send it around. We need all the help we can get on both days, and it should be a fun event. Again, thanks to Arapahoe Library District, not only what Jessica's done, but providing the space for the pod that Alan has arranged. So everybody's pitching in. It's going to be a great event.
Great job, Mr. Hope. Diane Zing, did you sneak in? I don't see her. She was going to do a Santa Claus update. So we went from a packed agenda. We're actually suddenly going to have to be stretching for time. So Tripp, you may be called on to do your stand-up routine here pretty quick. Mary Alice Jackson, why don't you give us a Prime Timers update?
I will.
Microphone.
Oh, sorry. The most exciting news is that we have a bus coming to take the whole group to a tour of the lights in downtown Denver on the 19th of December, and we filled up the bus yesterday. They have 38 seats. So that's probably the largest group we've had together for anything so far. The other things that are going on is that we've added a monthly hike. And in the wintertime, we're probably going to keep it just to one a month. It'll probably go to more as the weather warms up. And we just go different places. Right now, we're trying to stay close in, just till we get the feel of how everybody adapts to the hikes. And the last one was supposed to have been 2.4 miles. And with the extensions we added on, it ended up being 4.5. So far, so good. It looks great. And we have a happy hour coming up Wednesday, tomorrow night, at Lone Tree Steakhouse from 4 to 6. Longhorns, that's right. Longhorns Steakhouse. It's at the corner of I-25 and County Line. But you have to go into that shopping center and then come back out. So if anybody would like to join us, please come. It's been a fun group. Roxy? Yes, we have movie night once a month. Every other month we do a classic movie, and Mark has been in charge of that, and he has done a fabulous job. We've seen old movies, which have been great, and then every other month from that we do a more current movie. So this month, February, what's the date, Mark?
I think it's December 5th. We're going to see The Green Mile.
The Green Mile is on the December 5th. So if you'd like to join us, we have popcorn and then go across the street to Panera for dinner.
Great. Mary Alice, thank you very much for that information. I just received in the mail a letter from CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates. We do quite a bit for them. We were a big sponsor of their Red Wagon Ball this year, so they sent us a nice thank you letter, so I'm going to go ahead and pass that around for everybody to take a look at. Randy Ernest just filled me in. He got the money for the polio pigs put together. We raised about $450 for the polio pigs. So I'll give yourselves a pat on the back for that. Great job. Travel gifts.
My family.
Microphone.
Hello. My family decided not to cook a turkey this year. Actually, I wish I could have been at Don's place. They had tenderloin. But we instead went to Taos. And if you haven't been there, go. It's only 4.5 hours from here, and it's very artsy, a very southwestern artsy. We always enjoy going there. But I look, and I like pottery. So that's what we have. We have this vase, which can be just sitting on your shelf. You could also stick some straw flowers in it. And I think whoever gets it will really enjoy it. And now I'm passing it to Phil.
Okay. As you know, I do a little bit of traveling, but I usually don't bring gifts back because Jackie, my wife, makes a fuse glass and she makes things. And so she donated 2 items, this bowl here, and the other item is this rock pendant. So those will be in the auction.
Jackie's items are always a hit of the auction every year.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Wait, Ann West jumped back up.
That's all right. I have all of our stuff, and this will be my first year to figure out how to do this. So Catherine's not here. I do see Andres. How are we going to do this, guys?
So we need to get it to Heritage Eagle Bend
right
at about 3 o'clock. That's when we're going to get there to start setting up.
All right, but how about who's going to help set up? Because I remember last year it was all over that house.
Catherine has got a team lined up to do the setup. So.
Super. One room.
Okay, Mr. Peterson.
Yes, I have a non-travel gift. For the rest of the year, I'm going nowhere. And in honor of the Broncos, they aren't either. So I brought a Bronco morning hat.
All right, one more. So last week for Thanksgiving, I traveled to Tennessee to see my family. My mom and dad, my sister and her family, my boys drove up from Charleston, South Carolina, so it was great to see them. Not a whole lot coming out of eastern Tennessee. But I will tell you that moonshine is still alive and kicking there. So I've got some cinnamon-infused moonshine from the Hook and Ladder Distillery in downtown Kingsport, Tennessee. So they've actually brought it out of the hills and actually are marketing it in the city now. So there we go.
Did they let you fly with that? I mean, I'm sure that's a highly flammable substance.
Yeah, I checked it. I'm not sure that TSA knew about it, but...
Good, thank you.
Okay, one more. We were all traveling. This is the proverbial bottle of wine, but my wife and I did a really wonderful road trip up to South Dakota, up to Rapid City, Mount Rushmore, which I hadn't seen since I was a kid, Badlands, Wall Drug. Surprisingly, so there's a item up there called Bear Country that you can drive through and see bears and all of that, walk right up to your car. I had never heard of it. And my wife said, oh, she went to it as a kid. It's been around forever. Well, the payback was she had never heard of Wall Drug. So we went to Wall Drug, too, in South Dakota. But while we were in Rapid City on Small Business Saturday, they actually have a really nice winery there that we did a wine tasting at. And yours was from Hook and Ladder. This is from Firehouse. So it's a Firehouse Merlot. I tasted it multiple times. It's not this bottle. It's very good. So that's the travel gift.
Did you bring coasters to go with
No,
that?
it's not opened. No coasters. I thought about it, but no.
All right, thanks. Any other travel gifts? Yeah. Nope. Done with travel gifts? Dr. Mark, would you like to do Happy Bucks?
All right. We have a little time today, correct? We don't?
Kevin, how much time do you need?
Okay, I won't take much.
You're good.
I got a presidential question, and how it works is if you get it right, I put $1 in. If you get it wrong, you put $1 in. And this particular presidential question has 4 possible answers I will accept. And the question is, who was the first U.S. president to pardon a turkey? Okay, so there are 4 possible answers that I will accept. All right. Now, the first happy buck I will put in Saturday morning. It was 2:30 in the morning, and I heard voices outside my house, and there were not turkeys. Anyway, there were voices outside my house at 2:30. There were strange lights hitting my window pane, and I realized when I looked out there were sheriff deputies out there searching the area. We live in a very nice community, and I was a little nervous. So anyway, I went outside and I said hello, and they had their gun in their hand, kind of hiding it from me. And I said, "Can I help you?" And anyway, they asked me how many people were staying in the house, and if I had their permission if they had my permission to search the property. So I opened the gate for them in the back, and they searched the property. And for the next hour, 4 or 5 cars were coming through. And anyway, they finally left. And the next morning, I called up. And apparently they got the guy they were looking for, but they couldn't give me any information. But this is for the Sheriff's Department. So. Anyway, I'm going to start with this table here. Any happy bucks? Ken Hope.
Well, I don't have a guess. My $1's for everybody in the club and my committee who's really sticking in to help with this big event next weekend.
Great. Kevin.
Got a happy buck for just having fantastic travel. I didn't get stuck anywhere, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Anyone else at this table? Roxy.
I have no presidential guess.
You don't have a guess?
I don't have a guess. Okay, all right. Let me guess. Okay. Okay, well, this could be just a donated buck here, but how about Truman?
That is correct.
Woohoo! See? When you go first, you have a lot of chances.
This is Jeopardy. It's supposed to be who is Harry Truman?
Oh, who is Harry Truman? Okay, all right. And then my real happy buck had a really lovely Thanksgiving with extended family and a lot of fun. And the second buck is getting to spend having my Sunday ritual with my daughter while she does her laundry. But it's just lovely, and usually it involves I've got to mend something for her as well. So, but I enjoyed the time.
Excellent. Any happy bucks over here, Randy? 2.
2 happy bucks. First one is I am going with the Boy Scouts this weekend down to Bent's Fort, and I've always wanted to go, but not a lot brings you to La Junta, Colorado. So I'm excited to do that. We're sleeping in a kiva. Not exactly sure what that is, but it's not outdoors, so I'm happy. Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. Fill me in. And second, I wanted to let you know that after Tim Jackson's presentation last week, his assistant, Michelle, who's the legislative person from Alabama, came up and said, "Wow, we've been to a lot of Rotary clubs, and yours is really lively." So that was $1 for the rest of the Rotary clubs really setting the bar low for us. So.
And
here you go. I have $1 because our daughter finally got a job. Well, and some of you have met her. She is a little on the shy side, but she is now working at UPS, and she had to get up at 1:30 this morning for a 3 to 9 shift. Now, we're all hoping that it's going to be a midnight to 9 shift because that makes more money. But we're real glad that she's employed and out of the house.
So Harry Truman was the first president to pardon a Thanksgiving turkey. I'm going to give you a hint for another one. this president pardoned a Christmas turkey because his son Willie befriended it. Anyone else at this table? Marielle.
I have two. One is for the fun we had at Thanksgiving. My niece and her 4 kids and husband came. We had all of our family there, so we had 14 sleeping over that night, and it was fun. Big slumber party. And the other one is because it's Tuesday, and I'm happy to be here.
All right, Mark.
I have 2 happy bucks. One for we went down to Disney World last week and had a fabulous time. The other one is for the best day to travel. We went down and came back through Tampa. There was nobody, and I mean nobody, at DIA. The baggage people came and took our baggage out of the car because they had nothing else to do. It is a fabulous day to travel. Thanksgiving in the afternoon.
Jeannie.
Well, I have 5, and my daughter walked in the door. For those of you who don't know it, on her birthday last week, she got engaged. And you're going to meet him, if not Saturday night. He's our speaker in 2 weeks. He's going to come tell you all about this wonderful company called Sierra Nevada.
So I don't know where the IOUs are, but I'm going to give an IOU for $46 because it was my 46th birthday. Eric and I met in July, and it's just kind of been this whirlwind. You guys met him a couple weeks ago. So yeah, it was a total surprise. If you saw my Facebook, I started out with a Star Wars Pez dispenser. That's where my birthday started. And then we had played tennis, and I had no idea, but it's my birthday, so I'll play tennis in a tutu. Again, no clueless. And so the picture, we went to his sister's country club, and he took me outside. He totally did it upright, got on his knee, and asked me to marry him. So, yeah, I'll show the ring. I've definitely said yes. And it's sort of been this whirlwind that has taken on a life of its own. Weddings, as much as you think as a bride you get to be in control, you really don't. So our date is June 30th, and the reason our date is June 30th is everybody saw that the Eagles and Buffett concert at Coors Field is on June 28th, and they're like, can you not have it on the 30th so we can come into town for our concert? So there we go. Anyway, that's my joy. And he's a future Rotarian.
Yes.
And Ken, he's already volunteered on Sunday. He'll be there to help lift trees and tie trees on the cars.
Karen.
I have 2. Can't follow that up very well, but first one is for the prospect of getting some snow, at least maybe in the mountains. I'm hoping for. The second one is for this discovery that you can take a turkey out of the freezer, put it in the oven, cook it, and it be delicious. And you can ask me about that later, but it was. That saves 3 days of thawing time in the refrigerator. It was a great discovery.
All right. Vern. Sure.
I'll take the IOU because I know this is the wrong answer, but I'm going to answer your question. Gerald Ford.
Oh, my. Yes, you guys are doing great.
Richard, for pardoning Richard Nixon. Right.
He got the one I was waiting for. Any more happy bucks at this table? All right.
I have one, and it's just thank the Lord that Andre's wife came through her surgery successfully.
Thank you, team, and definitely have 5 happy bucks. Many things to be thankful for. The first one, obviously, is Yvonne's health. As you know, she had brain surgery on November 10th, and everything went well, thank God. And benign tumor, so she's doing awesome. She's almost fully recovered. She's taking it slow, but you're probably going to see her on Saturday. That's the plan. Thank God. Second one is for Kevin. He's going to be our speaker today. He's from the Children's Foundation, and we're going to tell you all about that. Some of you remember when we had the ballet dance troupe here in the atrium of the hotel. I was trying to remember, and it's probably about, and John was helping me, I think it's about 7 years ago that happened, so it's been a while. Also, the next one for Catherine. Congratulations. It's great to see it, everything that's happening in your life, and it's awesome. Congratulations. And the other two, it's just great to be here. Really like it.
Any other happy bucks? This table.
These are two Thanksgiving-related happy bucks. One for each of the two grandchildren who were there. The one that's 2.5 sat at the big table. And the end of that story is I'm very happy we have a dog. And the other thing, his sister, who's only 6 months old, didn't sit at the big table. So it was a great Thanksgiving.
Okay, any more happy bucks before the president? John.
Yeah, we moved into our new house about 2 months ago, and we hosted Thanksgiving, found out the house was great. We had 14 people and experimented with a beef tenderloin that came out perfect, so it was a great Thanksgiving.
Any more?
I've got a mic. I've got 3. First, for Catherine and Eric, congratulations very much. I had a chance to Uber them back from the airport and had a nice talk with them. I'm really excited for you both. Next one is a relief buck for Jeannie. It only took 46 years, but I get it, so it's all going really, really well. And then my parents just celebrated their 71st wedding anniversary. So here's to Mom and Dad. So that brings us to the exciting part of our program.
The other two presidents was Abraham Lincoln, and then you had, George H.W. Bush was the first president who, after he pardoned, had subsequent presidents follow him. So he's the one that kind of started the recent line.
Great, thank you. Andres, would you like to introduce Kevin?
My pleasure. Our speaker today, and I have the pleasure of introducing him to you, is Kevin Skins, who is the Development Director for the Children's Foundation. Now, some of you who have been in the club for several years are familiar with the Children's Foundation. It is an organization based out of Loveland, and we sponsored, and I say we because I'm part of the board of directors of the foundation in Manzanillo, Mexico. And it is a wonderful program. It's amazing the love that Nancy Nystrom, who's the founder of this organization, has for the children and what her group does. And Kevin has been a member of the board for several years now, and he had his own business for 30 years. And just get this, he decided to sell his business or get out of his business and took a position at the Children's Foundation to help it grow and help it develop and institutionalize it more and more. So he left his business of 30 years to pursue what he was telling me, his passion of, again, helping these children that have no place to go, have no prospects in life, and bring them out of the poverty cycle, give them an education, and make them valuable citizens and respectable people in their community. So Kevin is wonderful. I've known him for a long time. He is also a mental toughness coach, something that Akip really needs. And and he has also another foundation that works with volleyball players, and every year they do one trip or several trips, I think it's at least one, where he takes part of those college students to the home in Manzanillo, Mexico, and they do projects there and work with the kids as part of their development as well. So with that, would you please help me welcome Kevin?
Thanks, man.
All right, am I on here? All right, well, it is honestly a pleasure. I am so excited to be here. It is an honor. I just love being in the presence of awesome people. And I heard something just a little bit ago about this group, and it's that this is a lively one. So what I thought we should do, I'd kind of like to get some audience participation. So if we could just have a volunteer from each table tell me something that inspires you. What is something that really inspires you and gets you going and motivates you? And let's start with Andres' table.
I'm happy to volunteer. I would say seeing young children's faces light up when something happens in their life that makes it better. Kind of like Santa Claus. When we do Santa Claus, there's nothing more fulfilling than seeing the faces of those kids when they're able to get a new piece of clothing.
That's a good one. Let's just go right back here.
What inspires me is this club. Sometimes you get up on Tuesday morning and you go, God, I just had a late night working. I'm going, maybe I can just skip it today. And then I think about everything that this club does. And when you get here, all of a sudden, everything turns around for the entire day, for the entire week, because of the inspiration of everything that we do as a club, not just for our local community, but internationally. So I have to tell you, this is what inspires me.
Great.
As the default speaker for our table, what inspires me is really the generosity of people. There's so many bad things going on in our world, but generally when anyone that we know is faced with something difficult, people always step up and come together as a community and help them out.
You won't be surprised to hear that Karen Berry picked me to give the inspiration from our table, in the spirit of John picking me a few months ago. Our 5 children and their 4 spouses range in age from 44 to 32. And that generation inspires me as they are pursuing their lives, pursuing their families, and giving to their communities wherever they live. So let's hear it for that group of young people.
The kids that we help educate down at the center that I do. So we educate them. Sometimes their faces when they learn stuff, and they start believing in that they can do it. That's inspiring.
Great.
I'm often inspired by the 4-way test. Whenever I have a dilemma, I actually do go to the 4-way test, and it really is kind of a guiding light. So.
Great. Well, thank you for all those words. That's very inspiring. So I think you're going to feel equally inspired with what I'm going to share with you today. It's something that has been inspiring me for about 15 years, so much so that I left a job that I loved to do something that I even love more. So I feel really blessed in that regard. What I want to share with you today, the Children's Foundation, is a lot of groups say we affect lives, we're changing lives. This organization is doing that over the top, from Mexico through the States and into Canada. And a lot of it is through and because of Rotary. So it's another reason why I'm just so honored to be here today. One of the things I'd like to share with you first is the Children's Foundation. So we're located in Loveland, Colorado, and our founder was Nancy Nystrom. And we exist to raise money for a children's home in Manzanillo, Mexico. Now, for those of you that don't know, Manzanillo is about 3 hours south of Puerto Vallarta, and it's kind of an interesting place. There's not a lot of violence, which is one of the reasons why I take groups down every summer. The reason being is there's a huge port there. So anything that's going to come into Mexico City goes through this port, which is a good thing. So there's a lot of jobs, not a lot of drugs. The bad thing is, whenever you have a lot of ports, you have a lot of sailors. Whenever there's sailors, there's going to be prostitution. Whenever there's prostitution, you're going to have a ton of orphans. So the amount of kids that are on the streets there, it really is unbelievable. And you wouldn't know it when you're there, just because it's such a beautiful, hardworking city. But the sex trade and all that is just rampant there. It's just one of those underlying things that you don't see, but it exists, and we see that every day. So the orphanage has been around for 20 years, and the thing that, I think I'm going to say this word about 50 times today, but one of the things that inspires me is the fact that our founder, you can see here, red hair, Caucasian woman, she's very proud of her Irish roots. For a woman like that to own an orphanage in Mexico, that alone is inspiring. And in fact, her book, she kind of goes through and tells how during the course of trying to start this orphanage, what started the whole thing is she lost her son. She was very close to her son. He died, and she wanted to die. She was, suicidal and just not feeling good about her life, not wanting to go on. And some really interesting events happened that you can read about. And she kept hearing a voice, feed the children, feed the children. So they started out as a soup kitchen in Mexico, and it kind of turned into a children's home. And during that process, they were trying to shut her down. They were accusing her of sex trade, doing things illegally, and if you could just know the battles that she went through and the fact that she has overcome that to own this orphanage for 20 years now, in of itself is just truly amazing. But what's more amazing than that is what's going on at that orphanage. So it's not your typical children's home. Your typical children's home in Mexico keeps kids, gives them some beans, rice, a bunk bed, keep them till about 6th grade. Because what happens in Mexico, I don't know if you know this, but education is not free after 6th grade. You have to pay for education post 6th grade. So what happens, a lot of these kids, they're at the home till 6th grade, and they want to work. So they go out on the streets, and they're either doing labor jobs, drugs, getting into, prostitution, that kind of stuff. So what makes this orphanage unique is as long as the kids obey the rules and want to stay in school, Nancy and TCF, we fund these kids, and we've actually have some kids currently that are in college. The thing that's, I love this story. So one day the kids came home from school, and they were very dejected. And Nancy was asking, well, what's wrong? Well, they were referring to these kids as the donkeys from Casa Hogar because they were struggling in school, and they were the orphans, easy targets. So I love Nancy. She pulled up her sleeves, did some fundraising, and ended up getting tutors for the orphanage. And now a lot of the kids are top of their class. Another thing that's very impressive, once again, Nancy just kind of takes everything to a whole other level, is it's the only orphanage that I know of in Mexico that actually has a psychologist on staff. So this gentleman works with the kids, and it's a very healthy environment. I think there's a group going down from this Rotary Club, and you'll see just how healthy that environment is. One of the boys, I just want to tell this story. When he came to Casa Hogar, he was in really bad shape. He was skinny. I guess he only weighed about 67 pounds. And his deal was his mom couldn't take care of him, so he was with a grandpa who was a really bad alcoholic, and he kept running off. So for about 3 years, he was tied by his belt hoop to a tree, and he just kind of lived around this tree like a dog. So when Christian came to the orphanage, of course, psychologically, this kid was a mess. And I first met Christian when he was 5. I was down there this last year. He's 16, and you would never know it. He is just happy and healthy and running around, and just an amazing, amazing kid. Another thing that this orphanage children's home does that's very unique is they have found that the arts, dance, is a great way to rehabilitate kids. So I think I'd like to take a couple minutes and show a video about how dance and the expressive arts are helping kids heal.
Beautiful tropical community is a destination for people from around the world to vacation, to have a second home, and it's an important connection for global business. It is filled with a rich history and charming culture. Unfortunately, like so many other areas in our world, this region has a second truth, one that is a sad and harsh reality for thousands of children who are suffering from abuse, neglect, sexual exploitation, poverty, and homelessness. The truth ruling over these children is one without hope and without the ability to dream. Can we really change that truth?
I didn't think any of my dreams were going to come true. And now I'm in my 2nd year of the university studying dentistry.
Through the Children's Foundation and Casa Hogar Los Angelitos, children are given a safe place to live where they receive love and care, discover faith, and find hope. With that as a foundation and the addition of education and self-confidence, they can truly break the cycle of poverty.
Hola, soy Brenda Lepe, tengo 21 años.
I'm Brenda Lepe. I'm 21 years old, and I've been at the Casa Hogar for 14 years now. I'm studying at the University of Morelia in the career of dentistry, and I've had a great time. I think the Casa Hogar is a good opportunity for all because they can give you a future. Every dream can come true.
Y entonces yo empecé a pensar sobre mi futuro.
I started to think about my future, and that is when I asked my teacher for help. He started guiding me towards what I wanted, and he told me that if I liked languages and I had good relationships with people, then I could study international relations. I'm studying at the University of Colima. When I got to the Casa Hogar, I never imagined to be able to go to the university, and it has impacted me in a way that has allowed me to learn, and it has given me a lot of opportunities to travel abroad.
We fully believe that while providing food, shelter, and medical care is essential, it is equally necessary to invest in the healing and development of the whole child. In addition to receiving a basic education, the children have the opportunities of studying the English language, learning computer skills, attending college, learning the arts, participating in sports, receiving counseling. Plus, other programs ensure that children are given the opportunity to change their lives, to become productive members of their community, and to begin a new momentum for the next generations. In addition to the developmental growth, study after study has shown that participation in expressive arts programs helps students do better in academics, as well as decrease and even prevent negative behavior in at-risk youth.
For a lot of these kids, expressive arts is a way in which they can actually get released from this identity of pain, this identity of being a victim. They could just be this young person in the moment experiencing the joy of this creative process.
Nowhere is this better seen than at Casa Hogar Los Angelitos and their one-of-a-kind expressive arts program, where children participate in art, music, dance, and performance. The results are amazing.
When I visited Casa Hogar Los Angelitos, I could actually see that the kids weren't just surviving, they were thriving. And these kids were growing, and these kids were developing in a way in which I had not seen at the other children's homes or orphanages that I visited.
Through Ballet Folklorico Los Angelitos, under the direction of Juan Cruz Martinez from the University of Colima, an accomplished youth dance troupe from this program has toured internationally each year since 2009. The arts program also provides invaluable emotional healing, teaches the value of discipline and teamwork, and gives them self-confidence. Casa Hogar Los Angelitos is a full-time children's home for infants through college in Manzanillo, Mexico. The Children's Foundation raises money and awareness to support Casa Hogar Los Angelitos, and Nancy Nystrom is the founder of both organizations. Since 1995, hundreds of children have received the care of Casa Hogar Los Angelitos, finding security and dignity. More children need to be rescued, and we cannot do this alone. We need you to help us change the truth ruling over these children, and to give them a chance to hope.
I get the chills every time I watch that. I think because I know a lot of those kids. So I just wanted to tell you how it's affecting kids in the United States, and this is kind of a new turn here. I went on my first trip about 15 years ago with my church group, and we went down there, had a really good time, and I went on a couple more trips, and then I wasn't down there for about 5 years. Another door opened up, and I started a competitive volleyball club for girls about 6 years ago. And I decided it would be really good for team bonding and just personal development to take a group of girls down to Mexico and do service work. So we started this trip where we go down. It's really rough, let me tell you. So we stay in a gated beach community. We have a pool in the backyard. However, In the morning, we do get up early. We go to the beach, we do a volleyball camp, and then we go to the orphanage. And I went down there with all these expectations. Well, we're going to teach the orphans this, and we're going to teach them that. And every time we go, we end up learning more from them than they do from us. It's just been impacting lives. And one of the neatest things that happened down there, and this is how we're starting to get kids in the United States involved, is I do my mental toughness training in the evenings on those trips. And one night, the girls talked me into doing mental toughness training in the pool. And I was like, all right, sure, ladies, let's do it in the pool. So we're in the pool, and it was kind of a festive environment. There was a condo next door, and it was a family from Mexico City, and they had been playing traditional Mexico music all week long, and it was a great environment. So we were in the pool, and we were talking about, we kind of got on the subject of love, and we kind of started talking about the traits of love. And I'll never forget this. As we were talking about love, that song by the Beatles, All We Need Is Love, came on. And it was the only English song we heard the entire time. And I'm just getting the chills like crazy today, just thinking about that. So we came up with a thing that we coined Try Love. And I want you to think about this in the context of a business, a family, a sports team. These two words, Try Love. So we have some Try Love shirts here. But think about this in the context. So kind, hope, truth, trust, humble, selfless, patient, and forgiving. So we kind of adopted that philosophy at our volleyball club, and we've had a lot of success. We believe that trying love really is the answer. And Nancy caught on to it, and she's like, you know what? That's what I've done at the orphanage. Some of these kids that come in that are so damaged, a lot of orphanages would turn away. Well, Nancy has taken those kids in, got them the psychologists, and done all these things. So we kind of have this umbrella now at TCF called Try Love. And some of the things that we're doing is I'm going into clubs now, different sports, soccer clubs, and we're training their team captains. We're training some of their top players. Sometimes we'll train the whole group on mental toughness training as it relates to the Try Love topics. So one story I really love is we got back from the trip, and this girl, Franny, got into her mom's car at Denver International Airport and just burst into tears and had apologized to just what a rotten kid she had been. We have another girl, Shadi, who is now our intern, and she came on the trip and she wanted to go to school for engineering, and now she's changed her major in college and wants to go into nonprofit work. So the impact is unbelievable. Now here's three of my favorite stories about the kids, and that's who it's impacting the most. Number one, Brenda, the one that you saw that was going to school for dental. She recently graduated now and is a doctor of dentistry. And we found her when she was 8 years old, literally living in the city dump. Her and her siblings were under kind of a tarp, rummaging for food, and now she's a doctor of orthodontics, actually. Another one is Andres. He was brought to us because his parents were both in prison for drugs. He came to Casa Hogar, went through the program, and now he just got his first job in international business, working at the largest company in the port. And those are just two stories of many, many kids that are just very successful. So here's one of the challenges real quick. How am I doing on time? Okay. So one of the challenges is, well, one other thing I'd like to share with you, they kind of touched on it in the video, is Nancy put together this dance team. So what this dance team is doing, it's giving these kids not only hope, but it's training them in how to be a better person, how to be a good teammate, self-discipline, all those qualities and traits that it takes to be successful, not only as a dancer, but also in life. And they are traveling internationally. And 3 months ago, we were in Canada. And for me, it was a thrill. I mean, we were on tour. It was getting up in the morning, eating breakfast, setting up, performing, tearing down, late dinner, go to the hotel. I felt like I was like with a rock band or something. But it was a great opportunity. And the reason Nancy does that, the orphanage doesn't make any money on those trips. It's to give the kids the opportunity to travel and to take all their hard work to the next level. And one of the things that's really inspiring to me is there were workers from the orphanage that literally had to go into the bars and the really bad parts of Manzanillo looking for some of these prostitute moms to get permission so these kids could get a passport. So to get 32 kids from an orphanage on an airplane to Canada, that alone is inspiring and pretty much miraculous. So what I'd like to close with is just kind of let you know what we do at TCF, what we're doing here in the States. And we've kind of gotten into some fun stuff. Andres is familiar with, we have a golf tournament that we do that's been very successful. We do a grass doubles volleyball tournament, which we've raised some money with. This last year, for the first time ever, have you ever heard of like the Spartan races or Tough Mudder? So we did our first annual Cirrus Fitness Obstacle Challenge up in Loveland, and we had 120 participants, which was pretty great for our first one. I'm doing the TriLove mental toughness training with organizations that I mentioned earlier. We have the TriLove leadership training. And the other thing we do is bring groups down for trips. So we're excited to have this Rotary Club coming down. And what we're doing is we're customizing trips. For example, if I go to a church group and they want to bring their group down, we'll ask them, do you want the trip to be music focused, sports focused? What would you like to get out of this trip? So customized trip, and we're looking forward to working with you guys as well. So I really appreciate your time this morning and your participation and your attention. And thanks again to not only this Rotary Club, but Rotary International for helping us so much. I think both of our vans down there, one of them's kind of broken down now, but we're donated by Rotary, so we're just so thankful for this organization. Thanks for having me this morning.
Does anybody have any questions? I see lots of hands going up.
Yes, sir.
Are you on the Colorado Gives program as far as the
No, we're not a part of that. That's something we should look into, though.
Yes, you should.
Yes, ma'am.
So I have two questions. One, what's your son? Black or your son? How many
Currently, we have 90 kids.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
What does it take to become a part of the program, and then what's the day in the life of
To be a part of the program as a child?
Yeah.
So some of our kids come from the organization now, kind of the social services in Mexico. They will find kids and bring them to us. Sometimes, kind of often actually, kids just get dropped off right outside the building. We've even had babies, just wrapped in blankets, just dropped off outside the door. A day in the life. So the kids, what's really weird is when you go there, it's a happy environment. You would think an orphanage would be downtrodden, the kids would be sad. It's not. They're crazy. I mean, they are running around playing, having fun. So they get up in the morning. They do have chores that they have to do. They wear their uniforms, and it's so cute. Their uniforms are always clean. Their hair is always gelled. The boys have a tub of gel like this in their bathroom. So they go to school, and they come home from school, and they are required to do their homework right away. Nancy has tutors there for them to work with. And then, of course, they're having dinner, playtime, and they go to bed. When groups come down, like my volleyball club or different groups, there is time in the afternoons where they get to come home from school early and play a little bit. And one of the things, can I share one other quick story? Okay. One of the things only in Mexico could this happen. We were doing our beach volleyball, and I told our guide, I was like, I feel guilty. Like, we need to do more service work. We're, on this beach way too much. So he made a couple phone calls, got us in the van. We go to this school. Only in Mexico could this happen. We pull into this school. All the teachers and the principal come out. We get acquainted. The teachers go home. We divide in groups of 3, and the principal says, okay, go ahead and teach them English. So here we go into these classrooms teaching them English. But here's the coolest thing. Here's what's happening. So here are these, volleyball players are tall, and most of them are pretty, whatever. So here's the thing is, when the kids at school, every year that we go down, see that the volleyball girls are friends with the orphans, all of a sudden now, the orphans are the cool kids. They're not the donkeys. But it's true, they're not the donkeys anymore. A lot of them are top of the class, and, they have the friends from America.
Kevin, can you talk about how to sponsor a kid?
Yeah, so that's the other thing, and I'll get to these other questions. A lot of people see the costumes. If you saw the dance, Andres, the costumes are amazing. Everybody thinks we're the rich foundation, we're the rich orphanage. Well, it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, we're rich in what we're doing, but we have to work extra hard to fundraise because we're paying for education, we're paying for college. A couple months ago at a board meeting, we had to make a decision. Ben Hameen, who had been with us since he was a child, was on dialysis. Do we pay for his dialysis, or do we let the power get cut off? Do you remember that, Andres? We paid for his dialysis. Somehow, as always, and this book is just full of miracles, it worked itself out. Yes, ma'am.
I am, excuse me, you call it an orphanage. Are any of these kids adopted and move on? I understand in Mexico it's really hard to adopt.
Yeah, I've in my 15 years, I've never known a single kid to get adopted. We don't discourage it. Just normally there's not anybody that Americans cannot. If we could, all my volleyball girls would, take a kid if they could. Yeah, it's almost impossible for an American to adopt a child. Sometimes, a Mexican family can adopt a child, but it's pretty rare.
I can
talk to that a little bit. The issue is the laws in Mexico are very complicated. And the issue is that those kids already have parents. They just not in charge of them. They're living somewhere doing their stuff. So in order to be able to be adopted, they would have to give legal custody of the kids, which normally never happens. And even if the parents do, then the grandparents would have the tutelage. And that, it's just a mess. Not even couples in Mexico, it's really hard to adopt if you want to do it legally. You can do it illegally many times, but, we're not up for that.
Yeah, thanks, Andres. Yes, ma'am.
They live at Casa Hogar, but they go to school outside of...
That's correct.
Okay.
And it's within walking distance. So it's another thing that we like to do. Is
so they're going... So Casa Hogar, because it's not paid for anymore after 6th grade. They go to public school till 6th grade. Then Casa Hogar, or the Children's Foundation, pays for them to go to school.
That's correct.
In the community school.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you. All the way to college.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
What is the tuition cost for a child to go through school for a year?
I think it's around $300 a kid, is what I've been told, for a year, and that includes uniforms. That's part of the cost right there. Is the kids are pretty rough on their clothes, so we're constantly having to buy uniforms. Yes, sir.
Do we have a date set up for the trip?
We'll be talking about that in just a second, but a great question. One more question? We good?
Can you just talk about if anybody wants to sponsor a kid?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have a lot of people that will donate here and there. A lot of people like to give to like buildings and things like that, and we are doing some neat things down there. We do have plans to build a cultural arts center. So we have people that are willing to give like $10,000 for this cultural arts center, but we don't feel like it's very wise to even start that if we can't support our kids and ourselves. And that honestly comes through child sponsorship. In order for everything to work budget-wise, it's $40 a month to sponsor a kid. Each kid needs 6 sponsors to make everything work. Once everything works, we can break ground on this cultural arts center. We can impact the community. We have plans to have groups come down, stay in the dorms, do some training when they're down there. But that can't happen unless we're meeting the needs of the kids on a daily basis. And it just so happens, too, I'll be honest about this real quick, is it just so happens our founder puts in a lot of her own money. But she's about to run out of money. So that's part of the reason why they hired me and some other folks that we have now is we were kind of desperate, for child sponsors right now. So $40 a month. And I have some cards I can leave if you are interested. It's tcfcares.org. Yes?
$40 a month, then you said you need 6, so it's essentially $240 a month?
Yes. Yep.
So for a little more kind of...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And Andres will tell you that's one thing about the foundation is we know, unlike other groups, the money, it goes down there. It goes to these kids.
So let's talk a little bit about February. So what we've tentatively set up, no, go ahead and stay up here. I'm not done with you yet.
Okay.
So tentatively, we have got set up from February 24th to March 3rd. That's a Saturday to Saturday. And the plan is to go down there. We're going to do a combination of things while we're there. One is going to be working with the kids. In the morning, we'll be maybe doing some light painting, also have some off time to go hang out on the beach. Afternoon, after the kids get home from school, we'll be able to work with them. But we're also going to do some community outreach because Kevin talked about the kid they found in the dump. That's not uncommon down there. So we want to do outreach and provide toiletries, provide clean underwear. We're going to take Ken Hope's project for the underwear that we did for Integrated Family Community Services and maybe do the same thing with some of the street kids down there as well. So we're going to be doing lots of different things. We're still working on the itinerary. Rough estimate of cost, I've been doing price checking on Travelocity, and to stay in a pretty good hotel, we're not talking 5-star, but a decent hotel, with airfare on Travelocity, we're looking at $900 to $1,100 per person, roughly, is what you got to figure, plus whatever we spend while we're down there. They also have, 2 condos down there that we could potentially jump into as well. rent those, but then we'd be dealing with airfare separately. Those sleep more people, so if we wanted to take advantage of that, probably be several groups of people together in that. So that's the goal. We've been talking about a boots on the ground international service project for years, and with the relationship we have with Casa Hogar and the Children's Foundation, we decided, let's do it this year. Let's try and make it happen. So that's what we're going to try and do. We need to get going on getting reservations made if we're going to do this. Rough show of hands, this isn't a commitment. How many people think they might want to get involved in this? That's awesome. You know, I was hoping if we could get 10, but if we can get more than that, even better. And I guarantee you there will be some time for beach, umbrella drinks, kicking back. We might not do the hardcore volleyball like you guys did, but we'll have a little bit of fun. So that's fine. Catherine.
So A, this is awesome. So A, this is awesome. B, as everybody's coming into the end of the year, and those of you who are thinking about going, it may not be a bad idea. And again, I don't know how we can maybe funnel it through donations to our foundation, but if you can reach out to friends to say, hey, this is what I'm doing, would you like to help go? The thing that I always think about on these trips is that, when you fly international, you're allowed one bag free, but you can take up to 3 bags. And, like I just asked Andres, we can ship like soccer balls, and you can ship it as a suitcase, and if we have extra money to pay for the bags, we can do that. You're also, every time I've gone on these trips, you get down there, being in Africa, their well hadn't been working for over 1.5 years, and it's like nothing for money for us. For them, it was a big deal, but because we had fundraised before we went, and there were extra funds, all of a sudden there's this fund that you can say, hey, we can do this. There's, I will say there's an organization in Cherry Creek that, again, if we can get some extra money and ship some stuff, they do Art for the Nation, which are these awesome bags that are filled with glitter and artwork and stuff and things to do with kids. But I just would throw, and I'm going to throw myself in that mix, so if we can figure out how we get money into so that there's extra funds for this project. But just those of you who are thinking about going, don't be shy about sending out support letters to, it's end of the year, people are looking to donate for taxes, and we could, it's amazing that when people give $50 here, $20 here, whatever, it may not feel like a lot for them, but all of a sudden, we had, from my Africa trip, we had enough money extra so that we could help the community buy land for a farm. Like, that's the things that can happen when you send it out. So that's just my huge encouragement. And I don't know how we do that through the foundation, but whatever.
Thank you. Roxy?
Another idea is that a lot of times over Christmas, the gift I give is
Roxy, can you use your microphone?
Sorry about that.
A lot of times for holiday gifts, the gift I give people who over the years have everything, I have no idea what to give them. I tell them that money's been donated in their name to an organization.
And very quickly, just another plug, if you're buying anything on Amazon, the Children's Foundation is part of their Smile program. So instead of going to Amazon.com, go to smile.amazon.com, and when it asks you to look for the charity of your choice, look for Feed Scholarship and Children's Foundation. That's the legal name of this organization. Feed, F-E-E-D, Feed Scholarship and Children's Foundation. And I think 5 cents out of $1 or something like that goes back to the organization. So before you do your Christmas shopping, go to smile.amazon.com and choose Feed Scholarship and Children's Foundation.
And I've done smile.amazon.com for a while because part of my money goes to Rotary International Foundation, so that's another choice as well. Also, part of one of the reasons that we're going down there is by getting down there and interacting with the kids, it should hopefully open up other ideas for us to get involved with the group. We do know that they need another van, so that's one of the things we've talked about is getting a van and getting it down to them. Obviously, we've got to do some fundraising in order to put that together. But I think if you get down there and interact with the kids, to put $40 a month out right now after we've talked about, there's enthusiasm. But if you're down there and interacting with the kid, because I guarantee you that my lovely wife, she's going to zoom in on one kid when she gets down there, And she's going to take one look, and there's going to be a check going every month from thereafter, because that's just the way it is. So once you get involved with the kids, that can really make a difference in how you perceive where that $40 a month or whatever you choose to donate. So I think this is going to be a really worthwhile project as we get going. So I'm real excited about it. So Kevin, one of the things we do for all of our speakers, we donate a book to a small charter school in North Denver. And we put book plates in there showing the name of the speaker that the book was honored. So this is a copy of the book plate that will be going into a book to the Ricardo Flores Magone Academy up in the north side of Denver. Awesome. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, I almost let you go. One more. I'm all kerfuffled. I need you to pull a ticket out, read the last 3 digits, and you're going to make somebody fairly happy.
885. I'll check.
Now she's going to draw 2 marbles out of the bag, and one of the marbles is a blue marble. She'll get a large chunk of change that she'll be writing a check to herself. So we might need somebody else. Hold it up higher, 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 higher. Oh. Pot rolls over, grows next week. All right, Kevin, thank you very much.
Thanks again.
Very much appreciated. All righty, could you all rise and join me in the 4-way test? Who we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Go do good and have a little fun.